There was a time when Hollywood could take a risky story, one centered on a flower girl, a corporate raider, and a sleazy lawyer, and still try to sell it as a date movie. Yes, that was Pretty Woman in 1990. Julia Roberts appeared as Vivian Ward, a woman living on the margins of society, but with a smile bright enough to light up the entire screen. Richard Gere played Edward Lewis, a wealthy, emotionally distant businessman, and Jason Alexander, as Philip Stuckey, played the kind of guy who makes you want to throw something at the TV every time he opens his mouth. On paper, this was not exactly a fairy tale formula. A sex worker, a lonely billionaire, a corporate takeover deal, and a toxic best friend. But in Hollywood's hands, all of it turned into the red dress, the diamond necklace, Julia Roberts' smile, and the big mistake huge line that became part of pop culture memory. Today we are going to explore 12 strange facts about Pretty Woman. Before we begin, remember to hit the like button and subscribe so YouTube keeps pushing these nostalgia trips to the people who still remember what VHS tracking lines look like. Number 12. Roy Orbison's Oh Pretty Woman got a new life. Roy Orbison did not wake up in 1990 needing a hit. Oh Pretty Woman was already a classic song.
Pretty woman, walking down the street, pretty woman.
But the movie basically gave the song a comeback tour it had never asked for. Here is the quiet irony. Orbison's original lyrics are about a man seeing a woman walk by and hoping she will turn back.
Walking down the street, pretty woman, looking like me, pretty woman.
It is the kind of street call aimed at a woman passing by, set to an insanely catchy guitar riff. The movie took that very song and flipped it into an anthem of liberation. Vivian strides through Hollywood as if she owns the place. A song about longing suddenly became a song about transformation.
Pretty woman, the kind I like to meet, pretty woman.
Putting the movie's title directly on the song locked the two together forever. The moment that riff plays, you instantly know what universe you have stepped into. Not a serious drama about late-stage capitalism, but this is going to be fun, a little loud and a little ridiculous in a very pleasant way. When the movie exploded, the song rode along right beside it.
I couldn't help but see, pretty woman.
Radio dusted it off. Compilation albums pulled it back into circulation, and an entire generation that had only heard it in passing suddenly knew every note because it played at the beginning of the tape they rented 3 times in a row.
You're not the truth, no one could look as good as you.
Now you really cannot separate the two in your mind anymore, can you? You hear that opening guitar, and you do not just think of 60s rock. You see Vivian in those boots and that wig, owning a version of Hollywood that the narrator in the song could only watch from the sidewalk. Number 11. The opera scene was chosen to reflect Vivian and Edward. The opera scene looks like a standard moment where a rich man shows off his culture, but they did not just randomly choose whatever opera happened to be playing in the script. That opera was specifically chosen to reflect Vivian and Edward's entire situation.
We're late.
No, it's all right. Opening night never starts on time.
Okay. Program, sir.
Thank you.
Vivian sits there in that bright red dress, silently watching the stage, and gradually gets drawn into the fate of a woman who has also stepped into a world that does not truly belong to her. She does not react like someone trying to appear sophisticated. She does not pretend to understand everything, and she does not keep the calm expression of an upper-class lady. Vivian is genuinely moved. She lets the music, the tragedy, and the beauty of the performance touch her directly. What matters is that Edward sees it. In that moment, he is not just giving Vivian the experience of an expensive night. He is watching her feel the world in a way that he himself may have lost a long time ago. To Edward, everything before this could be reduced to contracts, value, profit, and control. But Vivian enters that world with wonder, honesty, and pure emotion. Choosing an opera that reflects their situation turns the date into a hall of mirrors. Vivian is watching a version of herself. Edward is struggling with what it means to be the man on the other side of that exchange. You do not need to know the plot of the opera to feel that. But once you do know it, the entire scene immediately falls into place. This is not just a luxurious evening. This is the movie winking at you and saying, yes, we know exactly what kind of fairy tale we are telling here. Number 10. Richard Gere almost walked away from acting before Pretty Woman. Richard Gere looks so comfortable as Edward that it feels as if he was born already wearing an $8,000 suit.
Okay. Yes, sir. How did the Moore stock open at the Nikkei? I don't know. You don't know? Tokyo opened maybe 90 minutes ago. You have to keep on top of these things, all right?
Hello, Mr. Lewis.
How you doing? I want this whole thing wrapped up as soon as possible. I got to get to New York by Sunday. I got tickets to the Met. Yes, sir.
But in real life, things were not that certain. Before Pretty Woman, Richard Gere was at a rather unstable point in his career. He had once been one of Hollywood's brightest faces, but by the late 80s, that heat was no longer as strong as before. Some projects failed to make a major impact, and the new scripts being sent to him were not compelling enough to make him truly want to continue. At one point, Gere seriously thought about stepping away from acting, or at least stopping to see whether he still belonged in that world. So when Pretty Woman came to him, it did not immediately look like a golden opportunity. On paper, the story seemed rather strange. A wealthy businessman hires a young woman to accompany him for a week, then gradually gets changed by her. If you looked at it only on the surface, Edward could have been just a rich, cold man who dressed well and said very little. That was not the kind of role that would instantly wake up an actor who had already lost interest. What kept Richard Gere in was the hidden layer inside Edward. Behind that calm exterior was a man whose emotions had almost frozen over. He had money, power, and the ability to buy almost anything, but he did not know how to touch the real life of his own heart. Vivian did not enter his world just to be his companion. She broke the rules he had built around himself, forcing him to feel, to be confused, and to change. When Gary Marshall helped Gere see that depth, and when Julia Roberts brought an energy that could not be predicted, he accepted the role. That decision changed everything. Pretty Woman became a massive success. Edward became one of the roles that defined his name, and suddenly Gere was back at the top of the list of leading romantic men. Not bad at all for a job he almost turned down, when in his mind, he had nearly cleared out his dressing room. Number 9. Julia Roberts was not the first choice for Vivian. Now Julia Roberts is Vivian, but getting there was not as simple as, hey, call Julia. This role had looked at several other options first.
May I help you?
I'm just checking things out.
Are you looking for something in particular?
No, well, yeah. Something conservative.
Yes.
Before Julia really entered the game, the role of Vivian had passed through the hands of many famous actresses. Molly Ringwald turned it down. Michelle Pfeiffer turned it down. Meg Ryan also did not take it. Daryl Hannah even reacted more strongly, saying the script had a tone that degraded women. This is not too hard to understand, because the original version of Pretty Woman was not nearly as sparkling as the movie audiences know today. Back then, Vivian was not billed as a funny, impulsive, but lovable girl. The story had a much darker tone, more like a cold slice of money, power, and the way society pushes people to the edge. Vivian, in the early version, was not the image of a modern fairy tale, but more like a tragedy unfolding right before our eyes. So many actresses may have seen too much risk and too little romance in this role, and then Julia Roberts stepped in. By the time she was truly being seriously considered, the movie needed exactly what she did best. Big emotion, even bigger laughter, and absolutely no shame in looking ridiculous if it created a better moment. Once she signed on, Vivian began to lean into her natural rhythm. Funny, vulnerable, unpredictable.
What is your name, miss?
What do you want it to be?
Don't play with me, young lady.
Vivian.
Thank you. Vivian. Well, Miss Vivian, things that go on in other hotels don't happen at the Regent Beverly Wilshire.
The costumes changed, the dialogue became more free-spirited, and the entire movie tilted around her. So no, she was not the plan from the very beginning. She was the version of the plan that turned Pretty Woman from an interesting little drama into, oh, this movie is going to live forever on cable television. Number 8. Rodeo Drive, from real-life contempt to a tourist attraction. The humiliation of shopping on Rodeo Drive is one of the most satisfying setups in the movie, because you know the payback is coming. Vivian is judged by her appearance, dismissed and almost thrown out simply for looking not expensive enough.
Look, I got money to spend in here.
I don't think we have anything for you. You're obviously in the wrong place. Please leave.
What makes a scene even more memorable is the real feeling behind it. When the film crew wanted to shoot on the real Rodeo Drive, not every high-end store was willing to cooperate. Some places did not want their brand connected to a story about a girl in a sensitive line of work, even though the movie was shaping the character in a more romantic and sympathetic direction. That rejection, that distance, accidentally became perfect material for the film. So the scene where Vivian is looked down on is not just a situation written to create drama. It feels like a reflection of the very attitude the film crew had encountered in real life. And when Vivian comes back, dressed elegantly, with her hands full of shopping bags, and delivers the famous line about a big mistake.
Pretty woman, say you'll stay.
No, thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Do you remember me?
No, I'm sorry.
I was in here yesterday. You wouldn't wait on me?
Oh,
You work on commission, right?
yes.
Big mistake. Big. Huge. I have to go shopping now.
That moment is not just a victory for the character. It is also a sweet response to real-life arrogance. Ironically, after Pretty Woman became a huge success, Rodeo Drive became a destination tied to the film. Tourists came to walk the street Vivian once walked, take photos, repeat the classic line, and relive that feeling of victory. The place that once represented contempt eventually made money from the very story that exposed that contempt. Number 7. The red dress in the jewelry box. 2 moments almost did not happen. The red dress is the iconic image of Pretty Woman.
When you're not fidgeting, you look very beautiful and very tall.
It appears on posters, DVD covers, Halloween costumes, terrible 90s style knockoff evening gowns, you name it, that is the one. So of course, they almost ruined it. The early costume discussions tried other styles. Softer colors that might have made Vivian look sweeter rather than full of presence. Cooler tones that might have made her blend into Edward's world instead of standing out from it. Those were all fine choices for another movie, but not for the movie they were accidentally stepping into. Choosing that deep, vivid red turned the opera night into a coronation. She steps out, and both the room and the audience at home have to see her differently. This is no longer the girl in the cutout dress and boots from the opening scenes. She is still the same person, but now her appearance finally matches the presence she had from the beginning. And then there is the jewelry box moment.
Does that look okay?
Something's missing.
Well, nothing else is going to fit into this dress, I'll tell you that.
Maybe something in this box. I don't want you to get too excited. It's only on loan.
On the page, it was a standard scene where a rich man gives expensive jewelry. Edward opens the box. Vivian gasps. Romantic music plays. You know that whole routine already. Nice, but nothing you have not seen in every other movie with a ballroom scene. On set, Richard Gere decided the moment was a little too smooth. When Roberts leaned in to look, he suddenly snapped the box shut on her fingers. She cried out, then burst into the completely natural laugh we all know. Not acting in character, not rehearsed, just Julia being caught off guard. Gary Marshall watched the take and knew they would never be able to do better than that. He threw away the polished version and kept the prank take. That unscripted moment became one of the defining images of the film, appearing in every trailer and clip compilation for the next 30 years. Number 6. The original ending was damaged so badly that they had to rebuild it. The final scene, with Edward sitting in the limo, holding roses, climbing the fire escape as if it were his own personal Mount Everest, makes it feel like this was the only way the movie could possibly end. At first, that entire sequence did not exist. The movie simply stopped. In the first cut, Edward paid Vivian. The two said goodbye. Then each of them went in a different direction. No return, no grand confession, no fairy tale feeling.
So what happened after he climbed up the tower and rescued her?
She rescues him right back.
One version had Vivian and Kit sitting on a bus, carrying the money, heading toward a life that was maybe a little less terrible than the sidewalk, but still completely inside that dark zone of reality. Test audiences did not accept that. They had just spent 2 hours watching these two people melt each other's defenses, and then the movie basically said, "Thanks for coming. Drive safely." The feedback cards could almost have written, "Why did you stop the movie here?" Audiences wanted romance. They wanted a big gesture. They wanted something stronger than, "Good luck. See you around." So the studio hit the panic button. The cast was called back, the fire escape was built, and a new ending was stitched in. Gary Marshall later admitted that by that point, they were no longer making a gritty drama. They were making a fairy tale, and the original ending simply no longer matched the movie they had actually shot.
The question is how much more?
I want the fairy tale.
Impossible relationships.
Without that disastrous test screening, Pretty Woman would have ended with a shrug. Because of it, we got one of the most rewatched romantic comedy endings of the 90s, complete with the image of a terrified billionaire clinging to rusty metal for love. Number 5. The I Love Lucy-style laughter was created by tickling. Julia Roberts' laugh is almost a character of its own in this movie.
You're joking.
No, it's the only way I can get you off my coat.
Julia Roberts' laugh is almost a character of its own in this movie. It is the scene where Vivian lies there watching I Love Lucy on TV and laughs as if she cannot control herself. On screen, the moment looks completely natural, as if Vivian is truly caught up in the comedy show and has forgotten everything around her. But behind the camera, director Gary Marshall had his own very specific way of getting Julia to relax. He did not want a pretty, gentle, or carefully planned laugh. He wanted a real laugh, the kind that bursts out of the body and makes a person unable to stay graceful for even one more second. So Marshall bent down out of frame and tickled Julia Roberts' feet. It worked. Roberts could not keep her composure, and that is exactly what appears on screen. You are not watching Vivian laugh because of I Love Lucy. You are watching Julia Roberts trying not to kick her director straight in the face. Sometimes the best performances come from moments of real emotion. Other times they come from a grown man suddenly attacking his leading lady's feet, like a strange uncle at Thanksgiving dinner. We are halfway through this list now, and if you are still watching, I am guessing Pretty Woman once lived on at least one VHS tape, one DVD, or one streaming queue somewhere in your home. Number 4, Jason Alexander's character Stuckey was originally even more sinister. If you already thought Philip Stuckey, played by Jason Alexander, was disgusting, then congratulations. You were right.
So maybe if I screw you, and take you to the opera, then I could be a happy guy, just like that.
Hey, get off me.
Ow! Ow! Come on, come on!
The interesting thing is that this was actually the toned-down version. In the early development drafts, when Pretty Woman still had a grittier and darker tone, Stuckey was written as far more dangerous. He was not just a greedy lawyer or Edward's unpleasant business friend. He was more like the embodiment of the dark side of the world Vivian had to face. Men with money, men with power, men who always thought they could control and insult other people without paying a price. If that version had been kept, Stuckey could have dragged the entire movie into a much heavier emotional place. As the story gradually turned into a romantic film with a fairy tale glow, this character also had to change. The movie still needed a villain for the audience to hate, but it could not let him completely break the light feeling that Pretty Woman was building. So the darkest details were cut back, but the essence of Stuckey remained. He is still the person who immediately becomes cruel when he feels Vivian is influencing Edward and threatening his own interests.
You know, this is not home. This is a hotel room. And you are not a little woman. You're a hooker.
Alexander plays him exactly right. Polished and performative in front of clients, but vicious when he thinks no one is watching. He is exactly the kind of man Vivian has had to avoid her whole life, and the perfect person for Edward to finally punch straight in the face.
You broke my nose. Get out of here.
What is wrong with you? Come on, Edward, I gave you 10 years. I devoted my whole life to you. This is bullshit. This is such bullshit. It's the kill you loved, not me. I made you a very rich man doing exactly what you loved. Now get out of here.
The movie needed a villain you would not feel guilty cheering against. Mission accomplished. Number 3, the poster is a lie. If you have ever seen the classic Pretty Woman poster, you definitely remember the image of Julia Roberts standing next to Richard Gere, both of them looking so perfect that they seem to have just stepped out of an expensive fashion photo shoot. Yeah, about that, almost nothing in it is real. Let's start with Julia. That is her head, definitely, but from the neck down.
Do you think I look like Carol Channing? No, I love this look. It's very glamorous. Glamour choice.
The body underneath is not Julia's. It belongs to Shelley Michelle, the body double. In other words, one of the most famous promotional images of Julia Roberts' career is actually a case of placing her head onto someone else's body. And if you think only Julia was edited, Richard Gere did not escape either. In the film, his hair is naturally gray, and under some lighting, it even looks almost silver. It fits Edward's mature, cold, and experienced presence.
This time problem is a major issue with you. Why don't we just get through that right now?
Great, let's get started.
How much for the entire night?
But on the poster, his hair was made much darker, almost black. Clearly, someone in the marketing department decided that Edward in the theater could have gray hair, but Edward on the poster had to look younger, sleeker, and more ticket-selling. So the poster used to introduce Pretty Woman does not truly represent the two people audiences see in the film. One person had her body replaced, the other had his hair color changed. But ironically, that very artificiality created an image so perfect, seductive, and memorable that it has lived forever in pop culture. Number 2, Laura San Giacomo stole her scenes as Kit despite having very little screen time. In Pretty Woman, Kit DeLuca does not have much screen time. She is not the center of the story, does not have a grand romantic journey, and is not surrounded by red dresses, luxury hotels, or opera nights. But with just a few scenes, Laura San Giacomo made Kit one of the most memorable supporting characters in the film. Kit could easily have been turned into a simple stereotype. She could have been just a loud roommate, the person dragging Vivian down, or a character placed there to make Vivian look better. But San Giacomo does not play Kit that way. She brings life, exhaustion, humor, and a very real kind of friendship to the character. Kit is not a perfect person. She has made many wrong choices, lives in a harsh world, and understands exactly where they stand. But what matters is that she does not abandon Vivian. Beneath the careless exterior and the sharp-as-a-knife remarks, Kit is still someone who cares about her friend in her own way. She is practical, direct, sometimes rough, but not fake. Every time Kit appears, the movie feels as if it is pulled back into real life. She reminds the audience that Vivian's fairy tale is only a fragile exception. The luxurious hotel, expensive clothes, elegant dinners, all of it could disappear after 1 week. Kit is the part of life Vivian once belonged to, and might have to return to if nothing changes. That is why, even with very little screen time, Laura San Giacomo still leaves a powerful impression. Vivian has the fairy tale romance, but Kit has something even rarer. A few short scenes that are enough to make the audience remember her forever. Number 1. Pretty Woman turned Julia Roberts into a true movie star. Julia Roberts did not just appear out of nowhere, but Pretty Woman was the film that officially made her a phenomenon.
I can't believe you bought drugs without rent. What is going on with you, kid? I needed a little pick-me-up. Oh, well, we need rent money.
Oh, calm down, Chica. She only owes me $200 more.
Oh, another $200? That was from way before.
That's right, $200, Vivian.
Before this movie, she was simply a very good actress in a few films. But after this movie, she became the reason you bought a ticket. Vivian gave her a role that used everything she did best all at once. She was allowed to be ridiculous, break your heart, get angry at saleswomen, and be vulnerable in an elevator. It was messy, big, and completely uninterested in trying to look cool in the best possible way. Audiences did not just like her, they truly fell for her. The industry noticed that, and suddenly she was not just part of movies anymore. She was the movie. Studios began building entire projects around the question, what if it was Julia Roberts but in this situation? And romantic comedies throughout the 90s tried to bottle that same lightning in different outfits.
Hello. You must be Vivian. My name's Bridget.
Yeah, hi. Barney said you'd be nice to me.
He's very sweet. What are your plans while you're in town?
We're gonna have dinner.
Oh, don't sit out there, dear. You're gonna go out? Dinner? Mm-hmm. Well, you'll need a cocktail dress then.
Vivian Ward got 1 week in a penthouse and a man who learned how to use his heart. Julia Roberts got an entire decade of starring in movies and dominating every movie poster at the mall. One of those things was clearly a little more profitable. That was all 12 weird facts about Pretty Woman, the movie that proved fairy tales could still work in 1990. Which fact surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for staying with us throughout this video. If you want to keep discovering more fascinating, mysterious, and emotional stories, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell right now.